Stephen Yalisove from Material Sciences and Engineering is our final winner. His project is Dropping Lectures and Summative Exams to Accelerate Deep Learning, an idea sure to attract students. Congratulations, Steve.
This project is all about getting students engaged, getting students to care about what they're actually learning in class. When they take responsibility for their learning, they learn so much more than I could ever teach them in the traditional lecture style. We have them read the book, but they read the book on an online annotation system, which allows them to highlight parts of the book they think they can say something intelligent about or ask a deep question, and then they write about whatever they highlight. Highlighting by itself does absolutely nothing, but if you write about what you highlight, then you're thinking about it in a deeper level. But what's really neat about this website that MIT developed, nb.mit.edu, is that all the other students in the class can see what each student writes. And so they can also comment on the annotations. So if one student has a question, they don't understand something in the book, they can say, hey, I don't really understand where this equation comes from. I know the book said it's easy to show that, but it's not so easy to show. Can someone help? And then someone else will see that at 2 in the morning before the assignment's due, and most students do their work, and they'll answer that student, and we grade the annotations. So that's the first part. They read the book by themselves, a skill everyone ought to have, and we have them do it in a style where they have a deep conversation with the other students and are engaged all by themselves without any faculty involvement. Then after they've done that, they come to class. I'll look through the annotations and see if there's any questions that none of them were able to resolve, and I'll use those things as some of the exercises we do in class. We break the students up into groups of 5. They use this online clicker system called learningcatalytics.com, which is phenomenal because it has more kinds of questions that I can ask and more kinds of feedback that I can get back than any other system I know of. The students sit in groups. Each group has a whiteboard. I ask them to do the problems I give them on the whiteboard so I can see the entire room, and if anyone's going off track, then I deploy my staff. They don't tell the students in the group how to do it. Instead, they ask them questions about what they were doing, ask them to try things, have you thought about this? And it's fun. We spend 2 2-hour sessions a week, which is a typical, it's 50-minute sections plus a recitation, but who needs a recitation when the whole class is recitation? But the key thing is the students teach each other with a little bit of guidance from us, where we come in to help them understand things they clearly aren't getting. And there's even room for lecture. But the time lecture is valuable is after the students have already tried and failed. Then a little lecture, all of a sudden they want to know the answer, so they listen, and it's valuable as long as it's not too long. So this course really is all about engaging students. It's also about using formative assessment and feedback in replacement of summative. All the research shows summative assessment and feedback is really a bad way to teach students lifelong learning. So instead, we de-emphasize that greatly by all this formative work inside their groups, and also even with the homework. We give traditional homework. They do the homework by themselves. They do it at home. But I don't grade it for correctness. I grade it for effort, and I grade it for their honesty when they do the reflections, which we do grade. They bring in their homework sets. Usually it's a big, thick document they've done all by themselves. They're allowed to use the internet. They're allowed to use, books, but they're not allowed to talk to anybody. They have to try. I want them to try. I want them to suffer. I want them to fail, because it's through failure that they learn, just like skiing or anything else. Then they come to class. Because I'm not lecturing, I can give them an hour of class time to, as a group, make a better homework solution. Then they take their original document after I hand out the solutions, and they mark it up. Blue if it's a procedural or math error, red if it's a conceptual error. Then they write a reflection about how they overcame those conceptual errors, who helped them, or do they still need help? And then we grade the reflection. A paper can come back full of red, but if we see that they made an honest effort and that they really did overcome those barriers, they'll get an A. So again, we encourage failure. even with exams, we don't really give exams. Instead, we do these readiness assurance activities that are from the problem-based learning community, where they take a short quiz, but it's based on things we've done in class, our homework and the reading, and they take 15, 20 question set, they do it in class, then they do it as a group. And with the group, it's open, with this individual, it's closed book, closed notes, closed internet. With the group, it's open books, open internet, and they can even raise their hand and have us come help them. So the idea is that they get 100% on that part of it. Then I average that 50-50. Again, lessening the individual component. And the final thing we do is projects. And the projects are really a lot of fun, and the students really enjoyed them. I've got several of the posters they did for the second one, which was to design a component of a superhero costume. And there they were supposed to use metal, ceramics, polymers, and insulators, and talk about, we were doing strength of materials and failure modes. So they had to identify what were the failure modes they would expect to have for this particular component, and how are they going to design against that failure, how would they make it, and what would it cost? And that's all I told them, and they were amazing. They came up with these beautiful, beautiful posters, and it was really a lot of fun, and I think they learned a lot from that process.